What if I told you everything you knew about King Solomon's downfall is wrong? King Solomon, often hailed as the wisest man to ever live, is a central figure in biblical history. He built the magnificent temple in Jerusalem, authored much of the wisdom literature, and ruled over Israel during its golden age. But what if Solomon's downfall was not just about his moral failings, but something far more controversial? Here's what they don't tell you. Solomon's decline wasn't just a result of his many wives and idolatry. It was a complex web of political maneuvering, economic exploitation, and personal ambition. Solomon's story is often sanitized, portraying him as a wise king who fell prey to the seductions of foreign women. But the real story might be far darker and more intricate. Solomon's reign began with great promise. He asked God for wisdom, and in return, he was granted unmatched knowledge and understanding. His fame spread far and wide, attracting visitors like the Queen of Sheba. But behind the scenes, Solomon was amassing power and wealth through questionable means. He imposed heavy taxes and forced labor on his people, creating a society divided by wealth and oppression. Imagine a leader today who is revered for their wisdom but secretly exploits their people for personal gain. Sound familiar? Solomon's massive building projects, including the temple and his own palace, came at a great cost. The labor and resources required were immense, and the burden fell on the common people. Solomon conscripted thousands of laborers, effectively turning his own people into slaves. This created deep resentment and unrest, sowing the seeds of division that would eventually split the kingdom. But let's dig deeper into Solomon's relationships. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines, many of whom were foreign princesses. These marriages were often political alliances, designed to secure peace and trade with surrounding nations. However, these alliances came with a price. Solomon built altars and shrines to the gods of his wives, leading Israel into idolatry. This is the traditional explanation for his downfall, but what if there's more to the story? Some scholars suggest that these marriages were strategic moves to consolidate power and wealth. By aligning himself with powerful foreign rulers, Solomon was able to secure lucrative trade deals and expand his influence. But these alliances also brought foreign cultures and religions into Israel, diluting the worship of Yahweh and creating internal strife. Solomon's desire for power and wealth led him to compromise his values and betray his people's trust. Moreover, Solomon's administration was marked by corruption and favoritism. He appointed his friends and relatives to key positions, creating a network of loyalists who supported his every move. This cronyism fostered resentment among the tribes of Israel, who felt marginalized and exploited. Solomon's centralized power structure left little room for dissent. But the discontent was simmering just below the surface. As Solomon grew older, his wisdom seemed to wane. He became increasingly paranoid and obsessed with maintaining his power. Some accounts suggest he engaged in dark practices, seeking forbidden knowledge and consorting with sorcerers. His once clear vision was clouded by ambition and fear, leading him to make decisions that alienated his people and weakened his kingdom. Imagine a modern-day leader who starts with noble intentions but gradually becomes consumed by power, wealth, and paranoia. The parallels to Solomon's story are striking. His downfall wasn't just about moral failings. It was about a leader losing touch with his people, compromising his values, and becoming ensnared by the very systems of power he created. Solomon's death marked the end of an era. His son Rehoboam inherited a kingdom on the brink of collapse. The heavy taxes and forced labor policies continued, leading to a rebellion that split Israel into two kingdoms, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. The united kingdom that David and Solomon had built was shattered. and the legacy of Solomon's wisdom was overshadowed by the consequences of his ambition and greed. This interpretation challenges the traditional narrative that simplifies Solomon's downfall to his personal failings with women and idolatry. It paints a picture of a complex leader whose quest for power and wealth ultimately led to his undoing. Solomon's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, the corrupting influence of power, and the fragile nature of human wisdom. Comment downfall. If you think there's more to Solomon's story than meets the eye,